Welcome back into the College Chaos Podcast. Garrett Ross and Jack McKenzie with you, and it is time to talk about the Pac-12 and the ridiculous amount of talent that they're going to have coming back at the quarterback position next season.
It's insane.
Jack, if I would have told you at the start of this year, next year, when you look at the landscape of college football, the vantage point, the crown jewel of quarterbacks is going to lie out on the West Coast, what would you have said to me?
What are you smoking, man?
Well, that West Coast.
Honestly, though, I'd be like, it fits, but like, I did not see this coming.
No.
Like, it's like I woke up one morning and all of a sudden everyone decided to like just go chill out in California.
It's really weird. And I think that when you see the success, there's really not much pressure out there. And I feel like you can go out there and be successful. A lot of these offenses are starting to progress. You're starting to see more and more youthful coaches, modern thinkers go out there. And I think that really is appealing to a lot of the young kids. We see across the ever-changing landscape that some of these guys, for instance, Dabo Swinney. I think Dabo Swinney out at Clemson is getting a little tired of the modern era of college football where you're having to constantly recruit your own roster. You're constantly having to look at NIL, and he's not a big NIL guy. And I think that's really kind of what led to DJU. Well, obviously his play on the field was not what it stepped up to be.
Don't undersell the play on the field aspect.
It was bad, but I think a lot of it also goes into the comfortability of the scheme and everything out there. So I think you're seeing a lot of guys who are in these types of systems who really want something new. They want something fresh, something they can relate to. And I think that's what you're starting to see in the Pac-12. And, DJU going out to Oregon State kind of caught everybody off guard, in my opinion. I figured that a team like Baylor could have been in the mix for him. I know Hawaii was thrown out there, which I thought was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch.
A bit? Bro, that's a whole stretch. But it's really intriguing. When you look at the Beavers, last year, I think everybody kind of left them for dead. Nobody thinks of Oregon State.
I know, and look at what they did. They just ground their way to top, 15 finish?
Yeah, they finished 14th in the nation. They were 10-3 on the season, 6-3 in conference play. It was really remarkable, and I think that when you get another year, you get another offseason, you get a guy like DJU, that can really just change the whole landscape of what you're doing out there. And I think I said this to you the other day. When was the last time anybody was like, yo, I can't miss that Oregon State game this year?
I honestly, I can't think of it. I'm a sicko. I would watch that game in a heartbeat no matter what, just because Apple Cup, Civil War, any of that.
Hold on. We can't say Civil War no more.
Oh, don't get me started.
No, but dude, for real, bro.
Honestly,
I cannot wait to watch Oregon State. Bo Nix going up against DJU. It's going to be ridiculous. And just let's look at some of these quarterbacks that you're going to have out there next year. So Bo Nix is obviously coming back for Oregon. I think it was really impressive, the kind of revival of his career after the just complete dumpster fire that took place at Auburn. And I'm not going to put that all on Bo.
You can't put that all on Bo.
Auburn is such a toxic environment at times, and the expectations down there are just really ridiculous for where they're at as a program.
I mean, it's dangerous when you mix high expectations and little brother syndrome.
Yeah, dude,
that's a dangerous mix.
That's how you end up with trees poisoned and everything else. But the one thing with Bo Nix though, while he made, just leaps and bounds to where he was going to go, what's he going to look like next year with Kenny Dillingham no longer, being his offensive coordinator as he goes over to take over Arizona State? I think that's going to be an intriguing matchup, but. His growth, though, I think he's going to be fine. Oregon is going to be fine. They're a tremendous program. And then he's also, tune out, plug your ears, Baylor fans, he's going to be tutoring Austin Novosad coming over. So that's going to be intriguing. Another one, man, Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah,
Washington.
Just go a little north, and you've got a guy who is early favorite for the Heisman next year?
Got to be. It's got to be. I know that there were some decisions, if you go back and look at that Alamo Bowl game against Texas, where you can be like, he was off on some. But it is what it is. There was so much layoff. you see different schemes and everything. So I'm not going to put that all on Michael Penix Jr. I think that anytime.
Hey, he was going up against some good defensive coaches. He was. Gary Patterson, I don't have a lot of nice things to say about him as a Baylor grad, but that man knows how to coach. He knows the X's and O's.
Well, I also think that when you look at that, I think Texas's depth and their talent along that, and I know they're going to catch hell for a lot of things, but we can't neglect their talent is absurd every year.
Yeah.
They just haven't been able to put it together from necessarily a developmental standpoint, but that is really starting to change under this regime, and it's going to be dangerous to see what they can do in the future. But Michael Penix Jr., man, like, I don't think anybody knew who the hell he was coming out of Indiana, other than like you people from up there
followed Purdue.
Yeah, y'all know.
I knew. I was kind of scared. I was like, oh, hey, he's going to Washington. That might be a good move.
But it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. I think Washington is one of those programs that, while they're going to have obviously a major departure from their running back room, I think they have the depth there to kind of step up. You're going to have more and more playmakers go out there, because why wouldn't you want to go play with a guy like Michael Penix Jr.? If I'm a receiver, hell yeah, I want to go play with Michael Penix Jr.
Of course.
So that's going to be one to watch. Cam Ward. You're going to have Cam Ward coming back if you're a Washington State fan.
Other end of the Apple Cup.
Look, man, Cam Ward has been remarkable since his time at Cardin Word down in San Antonio. Just watching, he's thrown for over almost 5,000 yards. He's completing 65% of his passes, 47 touchdowns to just 10 interceptions. That is ridiculous. My thing, though, with Cam Ward is now that Eric Morris is gone. I mean, you were glued at the hip with Eric Morris from Cardin Word. You go out there. Now Eric Morris is taking over as the head coaching position at North Texas. How does that impact Cam? How does that impact Cam Ward? I think that it's kind of like a situation you're seeing with Bo Nix. It's going to be really intriguing to see. I just think his talent, his comfortability, I think he'll be fine, but I think you might see a little drop off from Cam Ward this season.
Yeah, honestly, I'm with you on that one. I also just think so many programs in the Pac-12 are crescendoing. They're like everyone's on an upswing right now, and so someone's going to have to bite that bullet. At least one program out there is going to suffer. I mean, we started with what? Oregon State, Oregon, and Washington. Now we're on Washington State. That's 4 out of the 6 in the North.
Yeah,
like I'm sorry, someone's going to suffer, and it's going to be one of those 4. Plus a couple of others, like
it's so
Cal
intriguing.
And Stanford.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm not even bring Cal and Stanford up.
Yeah, we'll leave them at the bottom, but like someone has to finish third from bottom, and in my mind, it's probably Washington State.
In my mind, it's probably Colorado.
Shoot, are they in the? My bad.
No, wait, I don't know how to think about the division, but anyway, I think when you look at Colorado, though, it's going to be intriguing because you got Shadur Sanders coming over. Obviously, Deion's son. I had an opportunity to cover him in high school. It's been interesting to watch his progression. I've never really been sold on him. He's got the arm, but he's really inconsistent. I think they really kind of rely on him way too much. They do too much through him, per se, because of the coach. But it's going to be interesting to see what he can do, because while the Pac-12 is going to get, they're not going to be looked at as like a defensive juggernaut conference in the way maybe the SEC, the Big Ten, even the Big 12. I mean, that gets slept on.
Just wait for Shadur to pop off against SC and that
he's going to get rocked,
non-existence of a defense.
Like, no, he
No,
might with USC, he might go at USC.
That's what I'm saying.
He might, unless USC needs to get rid of Alex Grinch. Yeah. Like, bro, he's got to go. Or that defense is going to be just like Oklahoma was under Lincoln Riley, and they're going to get exposed. You can score all the points in the world. You got to stop him. But Shadur, man, he's intriguing. Like, when you look at what he did at Jackson State in the SWAC, 79 touchdowns through the air. I don't see that happening out there.
Nope.
He's obviously going to have a lot of talent around him. Deion is one of those guys. He's like a magnet, right? Like his persona, his personality, what he's been able to do, his track record speaks for itself. He's going to get the talent there. I just don't know that they're going to be able to put it together. And I don't know what the realistic expectations are for a guy like Shadur and the program at Colorado as a whole.
I don't know what the realistic expectations are aside from being better than they were last year.
But that can't be much difficult.
It would be tough to be worse. And frankly, I think that Sanders and Son, they will pull them up to 3-4 wins maybe.
They could. One intriguing school that I'm looking at here
we can get to UCLA now? Or
hey, let's go to UCLA. Dante Moore coming in.
'Cause
Dante
that
Moore
was really intriguing to me, that flip.
It
That
was.
set some dominoes off in the recruiting world.
Ask Baylor. It damn sure did. So, look, Dominic Moore, 5-star quarterback, number 3 in the 2023 class, out of Detroit. It's hard for me to well, I know he's talented. What kind of defenses were you playing week in and week out? Did the system you play in, was it catered to you? Like, okay, for instance, when you look at all these quarterbacks coming out of Mater Dei, right?
Yep.
Like, or even, I don't know, Westlake, you could say. They have so much talent around them. How good are you truly? Because it's easy to stand back there and throw the ball up to 5 stars and let them run under it left and right. With Dante Moore, I'm going to be intrigued to see how his progression is.
That you saying that just reminds me of, what was it, Tate? Was it Martell?
Tate Martell.
Yeah, that just reminds me of Tate Martell.
Yeah.
You go to Gorman. You've got so much talent around you. And then you hop around to how many different colleges has he made it to now?
Man, he broke the transfer portal. I don't even know.
Meanwhile, his understudy at Gorman, DTR, is a guy who's leaving UCLA in great shape now.
Yeah.
So it's really you do not know what you're getting.
You don't. And look, I think he's going to be fine in the end. And who's to say he doesn't hit the portal in a couple of years? I mean, you know, we never know what's going to happen there. Let's head a little more west.
Yeah,
I mean, a little more east.
Sorry, I derailed your trip there.
No, you're good. Let's reel it in. And let's go to Arizona. When you look at Arizona State, this is one of the programs I'm really intrigued to watch. I think that it's a campus that is very attractive. Young people want to go out there. You want to be in the desert. You want to do your thing. We know what Arizona State's about. But the product on the field has really suffered at times. And it's got a good history. It's not up there with some of the programs in the Pac-12 as far as traditionally. But they've had a lot of key players come through there. I was kind of really disappointed with Herm Edwards' tenure.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of falls in that boat when we're looking at what I said with Dabo. Like, it's an NFL guy. And it's so much easier now, I feel like, to be an NFL coach compared to a college coach. The hours, the just everything into it. So I understand him getting out. You bring in Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State guy. I mean, through and through. And then not only that, you bring in Drew Pine coming in. And I like Drew Pine. I think he's a serviceable quarterback. He did some good things for Notre Dame. Threw for over 2,000 yards to 22 touchdowns. I mean, it's good. It's better than what they had. It's not going to blow you off the map. But I think that they're going to be an intriguing. I think when you look at what Kenny Dillingham can do offensively from a coaching standpoint, I'm interested to see what he can do with Drew Pine and his development.
Yeah, in my mind, Arizona State, when it's been at its best, at least when they flashed to me, it's when they've been going off on offense. It's when they've been innovative on that end, when they've had a playmaker at quarterback who can just go pull stuff out of his hat and have fun, really kind of like play into like the personality of the school even.
Yeah.
Just go out there and have a party on the field. And so it's, one, cool to see them hopefully going in that direction with Dillingham. And two, it's going to be interesting to see more competition hopefully rise up in Pac-12 South.
The competition is there. It's gonna. I mean, undoubtedly, the competition is there, and it's definitely going to be. The Pac-12 is going to be. It's crazy to say, but it's going to be so fun. Like I'm going to be watching conference. So much Pac-12 football next year. It's absurd.
We're going to get to this at some point in the off season, but the fighting between Pac-12 and Big 12 fans and just how similar the conferences are becoming.
They're like can mirror each other almost.
And it's just a matter of like TCU wins on Monday. The Big 12's got that.
Yeah.
The Big 12's got that to hold over. But right now, as a Big 12 person, I'm like, do we really have that much to hold over the Pac-12? I mean, we like to say we're the knife fight with teams that actually make the playoff. But like the knife fight's there in both conferences.
It is. I think the one intriguing aspect is, well, the difference maker is if you look this year at the Pac-12, their one opportunity to get in was USC. And if you're a Pac-12 fan, do you really want USC to get in there? I mean, like, if you're a Big 12 fan, did you want Oklahoma in? Did you want Texas in? So that's what I'm saying. I don't think that it was going to do anything beneficial if USC was to make the national championship regardless. But Caleb Williams is going to be back next year. He's just won the Heisman Trophy.
And that's the thing that makes the Pac-12 so, like, honestly, so much more intriguing next year. The quarterback, like, stable that they have. The talent they have at the most important position in football just seems to be that much far beyond the Big 12. It's honestly a little sad for the Big 12.
Well, it is, but I think the Big 12's got its benefits, and you're obviously going to have some good quarterback play. But there's not a conference in the nation that's going to have this caliber of quarterback play across the board, which is really intriguing. And Caleb Williams, I was kind of disappointed with his performance. No, I wouldn't say I was disappointed with his performance against Tulane. That Tulane was just a really good team. But I think that when you win the Heisman, you can't go out and lose to and look, pardon me, a group of 5 program, even though they did beat K-State.
Put some respect on Tulane's name.
Look, I will, man. I have all the respect in the world for what Willie Fritz and them were able to do. It's a tremendous program, but I think if you're USC, that was kind of like a black eye that you really can't get rid of. And if you're Caleb Williams, how do you build off of that heading into this season? The offense is going to be fine. It's their defense that's suspect, and that's what they're going to have to shore up if they want to win a national championship, in my mind.
Yeah, and it's cool to see them all rising, but at this point now, we're also seeing some programs out there kind of falling off a little bit, and the transfer portal is making that all that much easier.
It is, and one of those programs who are falling off, Oklahoma State. We're going to come back next, and we're going to take a look at what is going on in Stillwater. But you're listening to the College Chaos Podcast.